And a friend of mine, his name's David, he's a doctor of chiropractic. He's very fit. He goes to Europe every year, cycles 200k cycles. He eats plants. He's a vegetarian. He doesn't drink or smoke. He was getting breathless. And his friend, who's a cardiologist, did an angiogram, and he said, "You've got 2 arteries with 85% occlusion. You're a walking, talking heart attack, just waiting to happen." So they rushed him into hospital. They sawed I used to work in operating theatre, they saw those ribs open. They cut out the offending arteries. They cut a couple of arteries out of the back of the legs, sew that up and put them in here. And does that doctor tell the person to change their lifestyle? Change their food? No, because doctors don't study nutrition. Or they study about 4 hours in 7 years, which is crazy. I'm not against doctors. Some of my best friends are doctors. And I believe most doctors are ethical. I'm against the system that is not teaching the truth. And when the Bible says, "Put not your trust in princes," and there are a movement of doctors who are not putting their trust in the princes in the pharmaceutical company anymore because they don't actually tell the truth. It's like the article where I read, "New cancer cure, 50% cure." Then you read the fine print, 2 people were tested and 1 died. So it's all the way see it. Is the cup half full or is the cup half empty? And so David had he had the 2 bypasses. He's 62. So I was talking to him. He said, "It's genetics, Barb." Well, do you know what they're relating to genetics now? 5%. Genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. My mother died a cripple in a wheelchair with rheumatoid arthritis at 51. Notice that I'm not a cripple in a wheelchair and I'm way past 51 and I'm not dead. Because genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. That's the good news. And that's what I said, "Dave, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger." He said, "Well, that's what my doctor said, it's genetics." He ended up coming to the retreat. And I put my detective hat on. I wanted to know why this had happened to David. And how many people would say, "Well, look at him. He cycles. He's plant-based. What good's it done him?" But there is always a reason. Proverbs 26 verse 2, the Bible says, "The curse causeless shall not come." No problem happens without a cause. So I said, "Tell me about your childhood, David. Did you have a happy, healthy childhood?" He said, "Oh, it wasn't too bad. Both my parents chain smoked." Aha! Both parents chain smoking. And this is in the 50s, 60s, where people were smoking in restaurants, people were smoking in cars, people were smoking everywhere. In fact, every sport event, all the advertising was smoking. There were smokes on the smoking advertisements all on the television. It's been a big change since then. So young David, all his childhood, he's breathing in this passive smoke. I'd like to suggest that by the age of 15, I wouldn't be surprised if David had about a 20% build-up in his arteries because of that toxic passive smoke that he was breathing in, which was coming in and damaging the arteries. And then he told me that when he was 50, he wanted to put on muscle, because unfortunately David was doing what many vegetarians do. They're not eating enough protein. Cereal and toast for breakfast, sandwiches lunch, pasta for tea, liked his sugar biscuits. Oh, it's vegan. I don't call myself a vegan anymore because I discovered that chemicals are vegan. I call myself plants. I eat plants. It's like when I was at one function and they had carrot cake and there was this white fluff on top. I said, "What's that?" They said, "It's vegan. It's vegan." And I said, "I know cow's cream and I know coconut cream, but what's that?" Because it was pure white. which concerned me. And they brought this spray can where you just spray it and all this white fluff comes out. And that immediately put me off, and I looked at the ingredients and they had all these damaged oils and chemicals and refined sugars. I said, I'll just have the carrot cake, thanks. And after that experience that happened to me about 3 years ago, I don't call myself vegan anymore. That's when I realised, do you know, they'd be better eating cow's whipped cream on their carrot cake than that stuff. And I'm afraid it's situations like that that give that word vegan a bad name. It's like one house I stayed in. When I opened the fridge, it was all these pretend meats, pretend cheeses. And I said, look, I love cooking. Do you mind if I do the cooking? I showed them how to cook. So all of that stuff was still in the fridge at the end of the week. What did I cook? Potatoes, sweet potato, broccoli. In the back of Sustain Me, I've got several delicious legume recipes, and every meal the father's saying to the mother, did you get this recipe? Did you get this recipe? Beautiful food. Not expensive, it's just knowing what to do. So that was David. He was the typical, unfortunately, many vegetarians today, or vegans, cereal and toast for breakfast, sandwiches for lunch, sweet cookies mid-morning and afternoon. He wasn't getting enough protein. So he decided to eat tuna every day. After 10 months, he had all the symptoms of mercury poisoning. You see, mercury is bioaccumulative, so the bigger the fish, the higher the accumulation of mercury. And that mercury was coming into his blood and damaging the walls of the arteries. So now we've got more build-up, more build-up, more build-up, more build-up, more build-up. Something else, he was having such a high carbohydrate diet. And all through our blood, there's little protein molecules. And on the high carbohydrate diet, releasing too much glucose, that glucose connects with the protein molecules and creates something that they call ages, and they stick to the arterial wall. And the number one cause of heart disease is the dislodging of these little molecules of glucose and protein moving and getting stuck. And if that's in the carotid artery, that's a stroke. And if that's in the heart muscle, that's a cardiac arrest. That's the number one cause of heart disease. Can you see it's not one thing that causes heart disease? Can you see it's a whole lot of little bits and pieces? To say that cholesterol causes heart disease is like saying that the fire trucks are causing the fire. Well, they must. They're always there. They're the one common denominator, so they must be. And that's what's happened with cholesterol. And that's why all the books that I quoted to you, that are all listed in my Sustain Me book. And the reason why the doctor says you must be on this medication is because the pharmaceutical companies tell him that.